As Carrie mentioned, 9 years ago, on the Saturday after Thanksgiving, my wife and I went to a friend of a friend's to adopt our dog Emma. We should have known we were in for a handful when the mother opened the door and the dog burst out like she'd been fired from a cannon. She proceeded to run around the yard just under the speed of sound until she finally settled down with a stick and started chewing. That's our dog Emma, the one in the foreground. The second sign that we were in for a handful would have been when the kids came out of the house after her. And each kid had something different in their hands. One had her dog bowl, here's your dog bowl. And the other one had her dog bed, which is bigger than he was. And, here's her dog bed. And then another one came out with a bottle of spray, not green spray, but this is what we use when she stinks. Bye, Emma. I'm like, this is really weird. I never thought that young kids would be so willing to let a dog go. And this is her last week. What we found out is she's a really sweet dog, and she just wants to be in the middle of everything. She's very much a people person. Wherever my boys are, she likes to be right next to them. And it's to the point where if you're trying to cook, she will try to lay between you and the stove, or try to get into the fridge while you're in there looking for stuff, which I guess is kind of natural. And it's such a dramatic effect that when people leave, she tends to look like that. In our first house, we used to leave her in our laundry room, which is kind of big. It was bigger than our couch is. We thought we'd contain her at least because we didn't want to crate her, and she didn't seem to like the crate. We would give her a treat, and she would just drop it from her mouth, give us the sad eyes. And we would come back a few hours later, and she would pick up the treat, and she would eat it, and then she would proceed to whack us about the legs with her tail. So we thought that because she was such an inert object whenever we would leave the house, that maybe we just give her the run of the house, let her sleep on the couch or the ottoman, which we conceded very early was her territory. And that's what we did. And everything was fine. Until about 2 weeks into this experience, we come home and we find the leaf of an Easter lily plant, perfectly plucked, not a tooth mark on it, in the middle of the floor, just waiting for us. And as soon as we came home, she gave us a squinty look, like she knew she had done something she wasn't supposed to, but she just couldn't help it. So she just walking around squinting. It's okay, it's not a big deal, it's just a leaf, right? Nobody cares about a leaf. Until we came home and found a small pocket flashlight, chewed to bits, in about a 5-foot radius in front of our couch. So I start gathering up the pieces of the flashlight, and I found them all. But what I didn't find were the batteries. Yeah, poison control. Yeah. And we think our dog eats some batteries. 2, AA. Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay. Oh, okay. All right, thanks. All right, honey, here's what we're going to do. He said, give her some bread. Bunch of slices of bread, let her eat it. It'll coat the batteries in her stomach. And then he said the tricky part was to get her to drink hydrogen peroxide, about a tablespoon. So we gave her the bread, and she loved the bread. Easy. And we said, well, all right, well, maybe she'll just chomp down some, drink some hydrogen peroxide. That was a fool's errand. That did not go so well. But the guy also gave us another tip. He said, just take a bowl, put some peanut butter in the bottom. That's peanut butter face. She loves peanut butter. Put peanut butter in the bottom, and then put the hydrogen peroxide on top, and she'll lick through the hydrogen peroxide to get to the peanut butter. So we tried that. And she is smarter than that guy was, because she was not having any of it. So eventually I had to wrestle her like an alligator, and hold her down, and my wife had to pour about a tablespoon of hydrogen peroxide down her gullet. And we let her go, and again, off like a shot, very excited for some reason to have bread and peanut butter and hydrogen peroxide. And she started running around our garage, just under the speed of sound, until the hydrogen peroxide started doing its trick. That's okay. She stopped running, and she proceeded to return to us all the things that we'd fettered. And I'm looking at it all over the garage floor, which is thankfully fairly empty. And I say, honey, who's going to look for the batteries? And she said, here's your fork, go to town. So I dutifully went through all the dog refuse, and I did not find the batteries. So I called back. Yeah, we did what you said, and it worked, just there weren't any batteries. And he said, well, keep an eye on her, look some more. Keep looking, the batteries, you know, they roll, whatever. So I go home. Now, hey, honey. He says we need to look some more, so I pull up the couch. My wife gets down, she looks all the way to the back. She says, hey, here's the batteries. I look at the dog and I say, have you learned your lesson? And she just kind of squinted at me. About a week later, we're at the Christmas party where the friends that introduced us to her parents were, and they said, boy, how's Emma going? Do you guys love Emma? I said, yeah, she's awesome. She's got all this energy. She's a great dog. She loves people. They go, oh, you know, they had a problem with her eating stuff. Has she chewed up any of your stuff? I said, well, it's funny you should mention.